we're all responsible for. To officially open Sustainability Week and this webinar, we'll be hearing from someone whose leadership sets the tone for our activity, our OO1, our one and only president, Mr. Sylvester Agose. Sir, the floor is yours.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, can you give me a thumbs up?
Sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that one. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everybody. I hope we're doing well. I hope our day was fine as well. So, on behalf of the whole SP LASU team, I want to welcome each and every one of you to day one of our Sustainability Week. Right? I mean, it's exciting to be here again. This Sustainability Week program started 2 years ago. That's 2 administrations ago. But for some reasons, we couldn't have it in the last administration, and we thought it was necessary to bring it back to the SP LASU event schedule for the year, for this administration, because we had a wonderful time together 2 administrations ago where we came together to talk about sustainability and the different practices and why it is necessary for us to carry these practices out as engineering students and as members of the society. And now we're back again, bigger and better, more informed, more knowledgeable, more equipped to observe a full week of activities that would reignite our consciousness and why we all need to live sustainable lives and carry out sustainable practices in different endeavors of our lives. And today's session is a very interesting one, and we have a very well-versed speaker who will be taking us on this journey of sustainability in engineering. And I want every single one of us to sit back, relax, learn as much as possible, ask questions, engage our speakers, and invite your friends to join us for this session this evening as we kick off our Sustainability Week for the year 2025. So on behalf of the SP LASU team, I want to welcome every single one of you to today's webinar. And by the power vested upon me as the president of SP LASU, I officially declare this year's Sustainability Week open. Thank you very much.
Woo! Thank you so much for that, Mr. Agose. I just remember that I didn't even introduce myself. My name is Ojo Oluwatofumi, and I'll be your moderator for today. So next, we're going to have, according to our SPE culture, you know how it is now, we're going to have our safety brief. Very quickly, we'd call on our General Secretary in the person of Oluwajomleju to take our safety brief. Miss Oluwajomleju, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good evening. Yes, we can.
Yeah, so the safety brief for the meeting is as thus. Please ensure that when using your headphone, you can still hear what's going on in the environment.
Okay, I think Jamiloji is struggling with her network, so I'll just fill in for her while we wait for the slides to come up. So yes, safety brief. We are in a public space, even though it is virtual. We need to respect and understand that we are in a public space. So please, if you want to speak, you need to raise a hand and the moderator will give you the floor to speak. Ensure that immediately you join, you mute your microphones, ensure that your mic is muted at all times, and ensure that if you're using headphones or AirPods or earpiece, ensure that the volume is not too loud in case of emergency so that you can hear the emergency alarm or you can hear the cry for emergencies and you can respond appropriately as well. Ensure that you're not on your phone outside. Ensure you're in a seated position, ready to take down notes and properly concentrate on today's webinar. And more importantly, while the session is going on, if you have questions, if you have comments, please do not unmute your mic to speak unless you've been given the floor. Instead, you should use the chat box to make your comments or ask your questions. And if you have questions for our speaker, you can type them in the chat box as well. And at the end of our speaker session, there'll be a question and answer session, and the moderator would help you read out your questions to the speaker, or you can raise your hand and ask your questions directly to the speaker. So all these measures have been put in place to ensure that we have a smooth and seamless session tonight, right? So let us all comply to all these rules that have been laid, and let's have a wonderful time in this virtual space together. If you can hear me and if you understand what I just said, can I get a thumbs up? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, thank you very much, and over to you.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Agose. So next, we're going to have our speaker for the moment you've all been waiting for. Our speaker tonight is someone whose work sits at the intersection of engineering, sustainability, and the future we want to build. Shammah Ndubuisi is an emerging energy professional currently working in research and driven by the mission to bridge the gap between technology and sustainability. His passion lies in leveraging digital transformation, artificial intelligence, and data-driven engineering to advance secure, reliable, and affordable energy access. With a background in petroleum and energy engineering as a first-class graduate, he is committed to applying his analytical research and technical skills to projects focused on improving energy efficiency and securing a sustainable energy future. Beyond technical work, he values collaboration, leadership, and continuous learning. He had led and contributed to multidisciplinary teams, guided student engineers through capacity building initiatives, and presented innovative research at professional energy conferences. Shammah has co-authored 4 conference papers and 1 journal publication spanning technical, theoretical, and policy perspectives in the energy industry. At the core of his career vision is a simple goal: to harness digital transformation for sustainable energy systems that address real energy challenges and responsibly and effectively. He is also a recipient of numerous awards, including the IPTC Delegate Award 2025 and the 2025 SPE Africa Students Paper Contest winner, second runner-up. Can we welcome our speaker, Mr. Shammah Ndubuisi? Let's give him a round of applause, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, so if at any point you feel like my voice is low, kindly drop a message. Kindly drop a message on the chat box so I can reply. All right. Thank
Yes,
you very
sir.
much. And I want to start by appreciating the leadership of SP LASU. Let me bring up my screen. Okay. So I want to appreciate every member of the executive arm that has contributed in one way or the other. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Just unmute and speak me so that I can't really see the meetings as I'm sharing.
Yes, we can, sir. We can see your screen.
Okay. So yeah, good. Thank you very much. And to the person that reached out to me on LinkedIn, Samiat, and the person that's the whole committee, sustainability and leadership, I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And so I just want to appreciate us that are here this night. I mean, I was shocked when I saw the timeline. I was like, wow, you guys hold meetings in the night. And it's pretty impressive for me that, we are having these discussions, and it's for us to fix it at times that are off work. And then I was like, if students can make this kind of commitment to, be available in non-working times, I think it's something that I would really want to be a part of. And so, yeah, Today, I'll be speaking on engineering tomorrow, powering a sustainable future. And like you just know, my name is Shammah Ndubuisi. You can call me Shammah. And I think one person that has been very active throughout the course since I joined is Rahim. I don't know who that is, but I just want to um, shout out to you and appreciate your activeness and commitment. I want to encourage each and every one of us to just keep it coming as we progress in the call. Right, so my purpose this night is to do 5 things. First of all, to inspire and inform you to understand that as engineering students, you play a very vital role in Nigeria's sustainable energy future. And so it's not something you should trivialize. You are not small, and then you are not irrelevant. You should begin to think beyond your coursework, beyond your exams and your tests, right, to being able to solve real problems and how they can advance the future that we desire. All right. So then also I want to contextualize some challenges for you to understand that as as the world is today, there's a global shift, there's the continental and regional shift, and there's the Nigerian context. And so, in as much as we try to push through and want to advocate global energy transition, we must also realize our Nigerian context and how we can push sustainability frontiers in that regard. And so, number three, I would like to just showcase some opportunities that you can explore and offer very practical advice that can guide you in developing some essential skills, career path, and management strategies that you will need in engineering tomorrow, and also make a call to action. So first of all, what's the entire concept of engineering tomorrow? I know it sounds a little bit cliche, and so if you do not try to sit back and reevaluate what you're saying, it might be like you're just sounding too big and vague. And so that is what I want to start by helping us understand that engineering is the future of any society. Engineering is the future, is the bedrock. It's good societies are built on sustainable engineering. And so it's beyond what you know and what you do, because everything in our society today runs on engineering, from the hospital, the government, the different structures. Currently, they are building something, they are pulling down different government annexes, and so these are being run by engineers. And so because in SP we believe that engineering is engineers, the oil and gas industry accommodates everyone so far, whether you're an engineer, whether you are a doctor, a lawyer. So I want us to look at it in a very broader sense before I narrow it down to the oil and gas industry, to how we can benefit, how it's more relatable to. And so in that regard, I think that the concept of engineering tomorrow basically revolves around 4 things. First of all, clean energy. Second, resource optimization. Third, resilient infrastructure. And the fourth one is environmental sustainability. So if we are talking about engineering tomorrow, we are looking at how we can utilize engineering solutions or engineering concepts or engineering models to drive this particular increase, or will I say influence, in energy and environmental sustainability. And so one aspect is the clean energy sector, because we are all conversant with the global warming, and it's something that is, will I say, challenging the world, even though President Trump is trying to play dumb to the fact that the world is no longer the way it was, and pushing for his drill baby drill projects and policies. But the truth is that the society is today is not the same. The way our climate is today is not the same it was yesterday. And it's because of there was no good environmental stewardship and responsibility. And so when we talk about engineering tomorrow, we are looking at how can we design and deploy renewable power systems alongside our traditional energy sources, but how can we diversify so that we can, I want to have a future where, please, I think somebody is unmuted, so just try to mute the person if the host. So I want us to have a future where my children can breathe in clean, fresh air, not where we are scared or where we do not really know what's like. Rain can, like here in Port Harcourt, rain can fall today and tomorrow sun is shining and next morning you're having harmattan, just disjointed and all that. So we want to secure our future, and that's where clean energy systems comes to play. And also, resource optimization, improving efficiency across different materials and systems. This is very, very essential, and it applies to very traditional industries like the oil and gas. And it's part of what I'll be sharing with us today. And also resilient infrastructure, building systems for engineering that can last long. If you look at most of the plants today in the oil and gas industry, in fact, I presented a project around, I think the SP Port Harcourt YP Symposium, and one of the solutions I was proposing was with regards to blue hydrogen, infusing into Nigeria's economy, Nigeria's energy economy. And one thing that was highlighted as like the talking point from the judges, more like to criticize my work, was the fact that Nigeria currently has very ancient gas infrastructure. And so if you're looking at bringing in blue hydrogen, what is the future of this particular, like, how can you utilize something that is very old? It's like the Bible saying that don't pour in new wines into old wine skins. So it's more like our infrastructure. If we must build a sustainable future, we have to ensure that they are more resilient and minimize the impact to the environment. And so I'll be touching around three concepts that are like pivotal for understanding and engineering tomorrow. And one of them is the concept of sustainable engineering. And what is sustainable engineering? Sustainable engineering is something that is very, very, very important. And now one point I have here is the fact that implementing green policies and eco-friendly solutions in all projects, it is very, very important. In fact, I did a study. I've been reading up the Quest recently, and trying to study how the oil and gas industry came about in Pennsylvania. And one of the things I found out was the fact that at that time, nobody cared about environmental sustainability. Everybody just needed to get the oil out and sell it and make money. Just get the oil out, sell it and make money. And so the once calm and good environment that they had in Pennsylvania was perturbed by people that like angry and very ambitious billionaires that were coming in to drill oil. And so if we must engineer tomorrow and power a sustainable future, we must understand that sustainable engineering requires us to implement green practices, and it cuts across different industries. For example, there are a lot of things we do in the oil and gas space, maybe in research, for instance, where in your school, your project, where you have to print, they'll tell you to print like 5 different copies of your project work. And one project work can be like 30 or 40 pages, and you print 1, print 2, print 3. That's paper, and paper is deforestation because paper is made from wood pulp. So if you are looking at advancing sustainable engineering, you're looking at how can we implement green practices and eco-friendly solution. It does not have to be always solar, wind, and what's the third one now? BESS, battery energy storage system. It doesn't have to be them all the time. From the little things we do, we should look at how can we implement sustainable engineering. Another thing is the global transition. And so currently, oil and gas accounts for like the mainstay of global energy economy, over 50%. And so the truth is that we have to bring in new technologies if we must be sustainable, because oil is going to diminish one day, right? It was not here from the beginning. It was not discovered from the beginning. And in fact, in Nigeria, there is this whole concept of marginal feeds. And so there's a lot of depletion. And so if we must understand how we can implement sustainable engineering and engineering a better future for ourselves, a sustainable future for ourselves, then energy transition needs to be understood context specifically. You see, we have to understand what energy transition means for different countries, what it means for North America, what it means for Europe, and what it means for Africa, because it cannot be the same. This country, for China, for instance, Asia, these are countries that are actively involved. And so the pace at which we will achieve energy transition will be different, right? And finally, future-focused technologies or future-focused projects. And these are thinking ahead of time. You see, I had a conversation with a friend today on how the US always brings out the innovation of the future. I think back in school, I watched a movie known as Social Network, and it was where how Mark Zuckerberg came about the Facebook and all that. And it was very, very interesting to me that somebody is thinking of how we can serve. If I just take the current one, ChatGPT, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman coming up with something that you're thinking about, something that is innovative out of the blue and trying to serve the next generation. You're just thinking about your present. And so that's the kind of projects that can really power a very sustainable future. And so next thing I want to do, like I said, from my purpose, is to just contextualize it a little bit. And so what do we have for Nigeria? Our country has very, 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 let's say, big, ambitious plans. But every time we make these plans, the problem is with implementation. I mean, there was a time Buhari came up and said he wants to implement electric vehicles, and Buhari was just leaving, or he had not even left. Tinubu came aboard and said he wants to do natural gas, CNG. And so the whole policy problem and all that, it's clashing. And here I found that in because of my preparation for this, that Nigeria has an energy transition plan. I've made a post around it before and on LinkedIn. And this energy transition plan wants to achieve net zero by 2060. What net zero basically means is that the amount of greenhouse gas you emission and the amount of greenhouse gas you're taking away from the atmosphere is the same, right? So Nigeria wants to achieve this by 2060, and they are looking at various sectors like power, transport, cooking, and oil and gas. But the truth is that how realistic is this for us? Because our country likes to make very bogus plans. And in fact, if you look at the ETP, it has some significant job creation index, like looking at 240,000 jobs by 2030, and we're in 2025. This is 5 years from now. How many percent of those jobs have actually been created? So we have to understand that if you are going to create a change in Nigeria or in the engineering sector, you have to take initiative by yourself, and you have to look up these things and see what role can you play. Imagine if thinking of a solution. Okay, I'll come to that. But imagine if thinking of a solution where your solution is just to advance and help Nigeria achieve this ETP. You stand out because you're not thinking as a traditional student, I just want to pass exams and leave school and get a job with maybe Aradel or Total or Shell or Renaissance. So yeah, I have an interesting fact here, and that's that there's one engineer in every 3,433 people. That's to tell you how valuable and pronounced that our profession is. And so, what is the key challenge for engineering and sustainability in Nigeria? Remember, our context, our topics around powering a sustainable future, and so engineering tomorrow, powering a sustainable future. And so, what's the challenge for Nigeria currently? Number one is the skills gap. It's a very, very, very big challenge. Very big challenge, because you see, you want to do something, but you don't just have the tools to do it. You don't have the tools. We don't have the labs that can incubate good research in Nigeria. In fact, the best we can do in Nigeria is assemblage, and that's like importing from China or maybe Germany or South Korea. We don't have the that can really do the electrochemical analysis that will bring out next generation materials that we need. We don't have it in Nigeria, and so there's this skill shortage that we experience. And if that skill shortage actually leads to going around with redundant, I don't know if that's the right word, but going around with jobs that are just routine jobs, and there's no innovation because we don't have that skill. So as graduates, you should be looking at tomorrow. Don't be looking at the present alone. If you want to be valuable in the industry, don't just your focus should not be how can I graduate, get a job, go to one field in maybe Bayelsa and start earning in millions and checking pumps, reading charts, and I will become a production supervisor, become general manager. Don't think that kind of mindset, right? If you must power a sustainable future, you should look at what are the current skills in my field. I believe that this SE, so we have people from around chemical engineering, petroleum engineering, electrical engineering. So look around and see what's the skill gap, what can make me employer relevant. There's what we call employer relevant skills, and these are skills that are not. It's not graduate trainee. They're not announced because once you have these particular skills, companies look for you to help them. So it's solution based. And another problem is the brain drain. I keep on saying it, and so Nigeria is suffering from brain drain because the intelligent persons are leaving the country. The best of the best minds don't want to stay. That's the gospel truth. I know in my department, right from from my year one when I was in school down to I graduated, almost everybody that had a first class or a 2-1 and a very strong grade, they left Nigeria, what we call Japa. They have Japad. And so it's beyond the fact that they Japa, it's the fact that they don't even want to come back. There is this study exchange abroad that Western countries do, where they send the student to another country. For example, if you're in the US, you can go to South Korea to learn, and after learning, you come back to the country. It's more like study abroad programs. But Nigeria once our best minds leave, the country is not even accommodating. We don't even want to bring them back. And so I cannot tell a best mind or a very sound person to stay, because what will become of their future? And so the problem is that this brain drain will ultimately impact. It's like a compounding effect. And so in the next 10 years, in the next 5 years, there are certain skills that we cannot have because the people that could do them are not in the country, they are foreign nationals. And so it's something that we really need to look into. If you are going to leave Nigeria to study, there should be a focus on how, there should be a focus, or let's say a passion, to always contribute to the Nigerian energy ecosystem. And I have here under investment in research and development. You see, this one is like the quality of projects we do in most schools. Like I can only count like 5 schools in Nigeria that are actually doing actual research for their undergraduate thesis. Several other schools is just copy and paste online. GPT wahala. So our research is really underfunded in this country, and so this will ultimately impact the future that we seek. And I have the last one, workforce shortfall, and that's the fact that it's similar to the skills gap. I have a stat here from National Power Training Institute that 50% of the required skilled workforce is missing in the power sector. And that's very, very interesting, because Nigeria is suffering from, in fact, 90% of Nigeria, like as a country, is suffering from power problem. We don't have access to stable, sustainable electricity. And so that is where clean energy like renewables, solar can come in. But if we lack the skill set to engineer good infrastructure and good technologies, then how can we close that gap? I think it's something that is really concerned. So how do we close that gap, and what are the engineering opportunities available that I have here? One of them is renewable energy. Like I just said on the previous slide, that renewable energy has the potential to close the gap of electricity problem in Nigeria. It has that immense potential. If we can set up, in fact, look, places like Kano and Katsina has very strong wind corridors, very strong solar. I traveled to Kano for SAACS SP's program recently, earlier this year, and the sun, the cold, the wind, the breeze in that place is just like, it's on a different level. It's as if you're outside Nigeria. It's so harsh. Like my skin was very. So this is the kind of climate that we have that can actually be channeled to good use. Places like Dubai was a desert with scorching sun, but today it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world today, the most free zones in the world today. So I think that renewable energy, via wind and onshore wind and solar, we can set up mini grids. Mini grid is where you look at households that are, that are very far from the grid, but actually maybe they are clustered. And so you think of a technology where you can supply energy, renewable energy, to those clustered households in a way that they can benefit from each other. So you harness the sun and you supply. So they are not connected to the grid, yet they still have access to stable electricity supply. But there's a problem, there's a caveat to this, and that's the fact that it's quite expensive currently. All right. So I know somebody may be saying, oh, I've been talking about renewables, I'm talking about clean energy. How about oil and gas? What does it mean? What does engineering a sustainable future mean for the oil and gas industry? And I have 4 points here. There are a lot of them, but I have 4 points here. And one of them is methane abatement. Methane abatement. In fact, just recently that Nigeria's industry, because our oil and gas industry was not mature the way it is before. At first, when the white guys came in and they were trying to develop skill set and all that, we didn't have the required skill set. But currently, if you go to companies like NLNG, almost, in fact, every top management staff is in Nigerian. You don't have like, you hardly see a foreigner, like, except it's just consultancy job, and before it's not even long-term contract. It's just short-term contract and they are done. And so it's something that we did not have before. And that way, most of these IOCs had better, leak detection, workflows that we did not have. If you work for a Nigerian company, in the past, like 10, 15 years ago, they will not take care of your welfare. In fact, your safety, they don't prioritize it. People die, they don't report it. It doesn't happen in the IOCs where, in fact, even if you enter the facility without one hand glove alone, they have written you a ticket, you answer query. So why am I bringing this particular point in terms of, methane abatement? Most of our facilities may be leaking. Most of them are leaking, not even me. Most of them are leaking. I remember when I was working interning in one company, and sometimes we will have this militancy attack, sabotage on our pipelines or our flow lines. And when this is done, before it will even be closed out, it will be like in 2 weeks' time. What is happening in that period before it has been closed out? So we need to think of next generation technology that can help in methane abatement, that can help in crude oil spillage, controlling it. And so that is where sustainability can come, because sustainability is basically doing something in this, unlike the technical definition I gave earlier, place from doing something and thinking about doing something the way you can preserve the present and don't waste everything. And just like sustainable income, when they pay you 100K or 200K or 300K, as the case may be, in a month, they pay you by month end. If you don't do it sustainably, by the second week already broke and looking for you beg and ask for urgent 2K. You see, so that's what sustainability basically means: trying to preserve the future in the present. And so methane abatement is one way. You can look it up. Another thing that I think this is very profound within the SP space is CCUS and carbon capture. I presented a paper on this. I did a paper on this recently at NICE. And some hard to abate industrial emissions. For instance, there are some things that there are some gases that just should be burnt. There's some plant operation that no matter how you try, that's why it's advisable to site some company sites in the bush. So you can site those sites in the bush. And so when you do that, you can more like preserve residential areas, not bringing them to very, very like active residential areas. And so these hard to abate emissions, you can control them through CCUS. And currently, Nigeria does not have a stable infrastructure for CCUS, but there have been some talks with top government officials and industry professionals around. There's this panel that has been working together to see how they can start up something for Nigeria. So I can't really see the time, so I'm full sharing. So please, if I have more time, you can just let me. If I have little time, you can just let me know. And just unmute and make me understand. Okay. So I have here digital twins, predictive maintenance, and process optimization, and this has to do with building a replica of the system. So for digital twins, we are looking at how can we replicate what is already existing. But the interesting part of digital twin is that you build a system virtually or using computer programs and algorithms, and then you track it with real data. So it's you're using the real data you're getting to assess it. You're assessing what will happen. You're checking different changes in that virtual system. And so whatever you get, depending on the accuracy of your models, whatever you get, you can use it to predict how your physical system will actually behave. Do you get? So in terms of predictive maintenance, there's a lot of jobs around machine learning, how you can predict when there will be a spill based on how if this thing is going like this. I think when I was interning with Total, there was this Excel model we did where we were able to predict inspection. So if you're experiencing this, if you're going at this particular rate in the next 5 years or in the next 3 years, you need to do this or else you'll get this. Those kind of prediction, but with more data, we tend to get very accurate values that can guide us. And I have the photo here, low carbon hydrogen. So I've talked about this before. Blue hydrogen as a way to leverage oil and gas engineering skills for very oil dependent economy like Nigeria. If you think of how much just Nigeria is currently, there's this coordination in the oil and gas space currently around gas, decade of gas, and I love it. I just want it to be consistent so that not when the next NNPC boss comes in or the next president comes in, he's thinking of another different policy shift altogether. So it's very important that we understand that these are various areas where we can achieve engineering in the oil and gas industry. And so I just cited a couple of examples here for projects that have been done before that we can read up. We have this CO2 storage project in Norway. I look at their innovation, what exactly they were trying to achieve, and the impact. There's also the BP Thunder Horse digital twin in the Gulf of Mexico. In fact, one of the research I worked for a client was around this BP project, and it was very, very profound. Like what they were able to do was very, like, in terms of managing the operational efficiency and reducing energy consumption, because with the predictive maintenance approach that they have employed, they were able to predict, oh, this particular system would use more power. So how do we optimize and how do we cut? And it's something that can help with sustainability, because remember that sustainability is trying to preserve the future with present resources. And so there's finally these the ExxonMobil Permian Methane Program, where they used satellites, drones, and ground-based sensors to monitor methane emissions, and there was this rapid leak detection. I mean, you before you mobilize, if for example there was a, let's say, a sabotage, right, and your gas plant is already leaking and your fail-safe pressure gauge failed, before you mobilize people that will leave from Port Harcourt, go to jetty, from jetty take off, the boat will not go till they will get to start. Before you go to that entire process, if you have good satellite imagery, have good drones, they can just do it for you. They can just sort it out in minutes, and your whole system is back to operational, safe working operational condition. And so something that we need to look out for. And okay, so what are the skills to prioritize for a sustainable future? One of them, I think, I divided it here into three skills: technical skills, soft skills, research and innovation. 3 skills: technical skills, soft skills, research and innovation. Now, for the technical skills, the most important skill that we need, especially as petroleum engineers or people in the oil and gas industry, is data-driven modeling and analytics. In fact, a typical gas plant can produce over 1 billion data points in a day. It's that massive. So we need people that understand data-driven modeling. And see, I always tell people, it has nothing to do with if you like it or not. It's about a necessity. So don't limit yourself. Oh, I don't know this thing. Have you made any efforts to learn it? What effort have you made to learn about this particular trending technologies? Because you need to stay in vogue. You're studying petroleum engineering because it's a course that is in vogue, or you're learning electrical engineering because it's a course that there's a problem that it's a solution for. And so you were not born as a petroleum engineer. I was not born as a petroleum engineer, or you were not born as an electrical engineer. So it's something that you decided to do. So you have to find a way to get involved in shaping the future. And so you cannot limit yourself. Oh, I don't know how to program. What effort, what commitment have you made? And in fact, with AI, there's a lot of no-code and no-code programs that you can develop. And so there's the AI and machine learning. I think it's a very, very vital skill for the future. And so there's also IoT for Internet of Things for energy systems. It has to do with sensors that can track, for example, that if a pipeline is being sabotaged and it can lead to leak, and we know that leak is not good for sustainability, how do we develop or deploy active sensors and maybe back them up with drone, more like a coordination where the sensor detects that there's a sabotage and the drone goes immediately to solve the problem, captures images, reports back to control office. And so that way you are, solving the problem without being physically present. And I think it's very, very important. Another thing I have here is renewable energy systems. I think it's a very, very technical skill that we need. We need to understand how it's beyond solar panels, right? We need to understand how can we coordinate renewable energy from wind, both onshore and offshore wind. I don't think Nigeria has much offshore wind corridors, but I think that our onshore wind corridors in the north is very strong. From wind, solar energy, which other major, what I just remember, I'll let you guys know. See how we can harness them together technically as engineers, because everything starts from a mathematical equation. And so then I also mentioned there's smart grid design and energy modeling. So on the soft skills part, I think we need to learn project management. It's a skill that everybody needs to learn to be. Everybody needs to be a project manager, because if you're not assigned the role of project manager, in fact, for your life, for you to be able to wake up in the morning, and say that you would wash your clothes and actually wash your clothes, you need to be a very good project manager and track how you wash your clothes and make sure that you achieve it. So it's something that you need. It's a skill that you need for life first before your career. And so it's something that I encourage us to develop. Another thing is effective communication. For achieving a sustainable future, we need effective communication. It's something that don't just listen to people with the intent to respond. Listen to them with the intent to understand what they are saying, because sometimes some people just come online, read a post, and they've not even crystallized it yet. They're dropping their reply, causing the person, finding a way to just want to counter and show yourself. And no, that's not the kind of skill that you need for a sustainable future. Another thing is stakeholder engagement. I just to apply more to people that are working, but the whole idea is that even for as a president, for example, or in SP, for instance, and you want to do a program, there are certain stakeholders that you need to consult. I'm not talking political now. Just this, your audience, your students, do they actually want this particular program? So you're working in a rig, and you have some innovations, and you've not consulted your manager yet. You don't know if he wants it or not. You don't know if it's in line with what the organization wants, or it's against or contrary to organizational goal or central aim, and you're trying to deploy it. You are just going home from that rig. You are going home straight. You will pick this thing in the house. So entrepreneurship is another very valuable skill. Everybody needs to be an entrepreneur, and that's learning how to monetize. So as an engineer, in fact, as an engineer, you would be more valuable to your team if you understand entrepreneurship. And I have here policy literacy. I will highlight it in the next practical actions to take, but I think that we need to get involved, and I'll see how I can do my best to mention how we can get involved in policy advocacy and shaping policies that will actually, lead to a better and sustainable energy future. And another thing I think is very, very necessary is research and innovation. Research and innovation. Most of in fact, the first model of aeroplane that was built by the Wright brothers. If you look at it and look at the kind of aeroplanes we have today, the Boeing aeroplanes, the cargos, they are not the same models, right? But the physics was the same. But somebody took the physics of that first aeroplane that was done, took the physics and replicated it, expanded it, considered different options, and today we have different, in fact, in the military, there are bombers, there are jets that are available. And so it was a researcher that did it. It was a researcher, a scientist, an engineer that did that. So it's a skill that will be valuable if you want to secure or develop engineering frontiers or new next generation technology, not just having the idea and conceptualization, being able to bring that idea to light. I have an interdisciplinary thinking and prototyping, translating the idea into something that can actually impact the future that we desire. And so these are my strategic recommendations and call to action. They're influenced by my experience in terms of policy writing and setting involvement and serving on several committees. And one of them is the University Industry Government Partnership. I don't know how many of us know Dr. Tangod, the CEO of Cypher Crescent, but he's someone that actually advocates for the triple helix model. I think they had a conference recently in Abuja, and the triple helix model is something that looks at how can we involve the university, industry, and government in our educational sphere. And that's one advantage that developed countries like China, US, UK have, because the Department of Energy in the US is actually involved in faculty research. And so it's something that is very valuable, because you're not just learning what should be learned, you're learning what is valuable in the real world. You're learning things that applies. Your employer knows, the person that's going to employ you knows that, okay, this person is ready for what I want to employ him for. Somebody is unmuted. If you're not saying anything, kindly mute, please. So that is one thing that I think is very, very valuable. There should be this synergy and collaboration between the university, industry, government, and let's see how we can get people that are actually, so I'm in school, I'm learning something, but while I'm learning it, I'm also learning job ready skills. I'm also aware of how that thing is transferable and applicable to the energy industry. In fact, to the petroleum industry, for instance, I'm learning things that I know that I will actually use in the industry. Not just learning to get an A or to pass a course or just cram la pour. No. See, that is where industry, government, university synergy comes into play. Another thing I have here is skill development programs. Currently, there's this NCDMP oil and gas readiness job program, and I applaud the NCDMP for what they are doing. It's really impressive. Even though, despite the fact that they've stolen a lot of money from Nigeria's oil and gas revenue, but they are trying. And so those skill development programs help to support what we call apprenticeships, where people are taught, they learn on the job. And so you can, no matter how good you are, no matter how you read as an engineer, if you don't get that exposure to field projects, you will not be that vast, right? Even in research, a lot of things that you cannot do until you get access to several tools. So no matter how you study how a tool or a software operates, if you don't actually run the simulations and study them or use them, you cannot actually be very vast. In fact, if you don't actually go to site and see how they are being applied, your simulations can be false and misleading. So there's a very good importance for skill development. And number three is policy engagement. Policy engagement. We need to get involved in energy policy in Nigeria. We need to get involved. And you can get involved. This easiest way to get involved is by writing technical papers. That's the easiest way to get involved. Because if you are waiting until, yeah, Nigeria is not like the, let's say, UAE or Netherlands, where they would have a panel, they will bring youths, to have youth forum. Nigeria is not like that. If you are waiting for when Senate will call you, or you are wasting your time, it will not work. But by the time you start speaking up, maybe via social media, maybe via technical research papers, showing, illustrating how the right policies can get us to where we want. Because these people that are setting this policy, they are going to be dead in the next 50, 60 years from now. They are going to be dead and gone. It's us and our children that will be available to live in the country or the life. So if we don't actually actively get involved, it's going to be a problem for us. All right. And another thing I have here is incentivize research and development. We need to, like, it's still tied to point number one, and some other points are around retaining talent. And so just to wrap up, okay, I think I'm done. Okay, to wrap up, I think there are some projects that we can do. I believe in practicality. So no matter what I'm going to say today, if you don't go by it and try to do something, build a project and fail. There's this saying that you have to, Silicon Valley says that you have to fail fast, fail forward, and fail proudly. So fail fast. It's better you build a project in your 4th year or your 5th year and you fail. And so you're graduating with experience of what it means to build a project and experience of why your project failed. You may not know why it won. You may not know why it would be good, rather, but you knew why it failed. So it is going to impact the next step you are going to take. You are going to know that this particular process actually does not work. You have closed it's what we call in research. You have closed out that research gap. And so nobody can come again and want to open it because you have found that it does not work. But if you wait till maybe until you get a job, until you might not be better. But then you start answering somebody, start replying emails, working on presentation, you will not have the time to build you have done 5 years with somebody and they're just making you senior technical professional. Maybe you have been seeing the money, but that fulfillment of purpose of creating my own solution may not be there. So I think that I have some projects here. One of them is methane measurement hackathon, where you can look at low-cost sensor and data analytics. Like you can do it at the chapter level or at an individual level. Don't just see, as a young person, as an engineering student, there's what we call your profile, your portfolio as a person. So it's not everything that should be motivated by money. Some things you should be looking at, what can I do for myself? You can just decide to do a study and build a project for yourself, for your profile. So that somebody that wants to think of you will say, oh, what is Shammah like? What's the kind of solution like? Why should I bring this person on my team? And you tell the person that this is what I've done, that you can look at and bring me in to work with you. So don't just be waiting for any time there's a project, a competition that you receive money. Start now and build your profile. I have some projects here like village mini-grid pilot projects where you understand. In fact, part of the IRENA application I submitted, although I was not selected, it was around profiling the energy access problem in Igrita, and it's had to do with understanding the load profile, understanding the challenge that the people in the community are having, and how can solar energy be used as a solution to the electricity challenge, not just the one of mounting solar panels in your house, right? Beyond that, community scale or community-based solar projects. And it's something that I think is very viable and students can explore. Another thing is, CCUS. You can do that through paper because currently Nigeria does not have a very active CCUS industry. So you can do research, run some simulations on that, and just look at them and see just think with ChatGPT you can come up with very innovative ideas that you can push into the frontiers of sustainability. And I have some top programs and competition you can involve, because the thing is that you have the future starts now. If you look at the leaders in the industry today, the likes of Mr. Adebite, Falade, the likes of Tony Atta that are leading multinational companies, there's this Orlando guy. They were people that they did not just start, they don't just become great or build those millionaire companies just daybreak. They just woke up one morning and they no. Right from their university days, they've been committed to learn. They've been showing up. That's how you know that's going to be great. Because right from the winning is a consistent winning. They've started early enough. So I have some projects here that programs or computer you can just enroll in, find a team. There's the MathWorks Challenge, Arena Youth Forum, Switch Energy Case Competition, which I was a part of recently this year. Go 13 competition. There's Shell Eco Marathon. This is at a global level. In fact, there's the Student Energy. The Student Energy Summit is like the largest student energy program in the world. So imagine as a student from Nigeria pitching yourself to that. You may get so most times we think of the present for alone. We don't think of the future. You may apply now and fail. If you're in your third year and you apply and you fail, you don't get selected. You still have your fourth year to try, your fifth year to try, and when you graduate, but most times you just feel, oh, there's no time. Oh, I'm not going to get it. So once you're not selected, you're rejected. You just give up. No, you think future forward. Think how can you develop and deploy solutions that can actually be sustainable, that can actually be relevant in the future, not just present. There are a lot of loopholes. There are a lot of things. In fact, through SP programs, engage with professionals and ask them, sir, what is the problem that you're facing in your company that you think technology and innovation can solve? That's why you can just pick points, pick the thoughts of people, and you come together and you harness them. Look at them together and see, oh, which one can I do? And how do I want to go about it? Which one can I get involved with? Or which one do I need to consult on? That's how you actually get involved in securing or promoting a sustainable future or engineering tomorrow. So I hope I've been able to communicate something this night. Thank you very much. And I'll be open to answering your questions if there are any.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shammah. A round of applause for our speaker. That was so wonderful. I love his energy. It was so informative, so educative. Thank you once again, our speaker. So it's time for question and answers. And if you have any questions, any remarks, anything that you need clarification on, you can kindly raise your hand and then you can ask your question. Or if you're shy and you don't want people to hear your voice, that's fine. You can just type your question in the chat box and I'll read it out for our speaker to answer. Thank you so much. So no questions. I don't believe that. There should be some questions. Or you guys are thinking of questions.
Hand is up. I think a hand is up. Can we look at that?
Okay, may I speak?
Yeah, please go ahead with your question. Your voice is low. Your voice is low, so we are struggling to hear you.
Oh, all right. Can you hear me better now? Okay. All right. I was saying good evening, Mr. Shammah. Your session tonight was absolutely phenomenal. It was like a wake-up call for me and hopefully for every other person on this call. Um, I have a few questions to ask, but let me first start with the first one. Now, I have been an engineering student for, I would say, 3.5 years to 4 years, looking at the LASU calendar. And I'll be honest with you, I want to be an engineer. It is my desire to work in the field. I don't just want to be one of those engineers by just name alone, or those people that just reiterate research papers that have been done for the past 5, 6 decades. But the issue is that I have relied so much on the school curriculum. And being in my fourth year, I feel like it is a bit late to start actively participating in competitions and trying to put myself in the field, be it in internships or or in hackathons or things like that, where do you think I can start to actually actualize my dream of being an in-field engineer and not just a desk job engineer?
Yeah, so yeah, thank you for your question. I can absolutely relate, and so what I will ask you. So you're kind of feeling a bit late. Put yourself out there and start, and it's fine. The truth is that you just cannot rely on the school curriculum. That's the gospel truth. If you actually want to stand out, then you have to do what people. I don't want to sound like a motivational speaker now currently, but it's one thing I had to realize for myself, that if you want to actually stand out, right, you have to do what people that actually stand out do. Because if you rely on the curriculum and what you are learning alone, that's how you are going to end up. That's the gospel truth. But one thing that's very important, just note, like on the flip side, know that you need to get those good grades. So I'm not asking you to relegate your schoolwork to the background. But now, one way you can actually get involved, right, is by actually attending conferences and finding an industry mentor. That's if you don't have someone that is an industry mentor, not someone that talks more than they do, someone that's actually doing more than they talk, that you can just watch them. You can, like, they can bring you up to speed. They are very much available, and that's where SP comes in. And if you attend SP events, finding the mentor would not be a problem. I can tell you that. So that's the first place to start. If you actually want to be a very good and proactive engineer, that's one. Find a mentor, someone that is willing, not someone that you just tell you, wake up, study your book, pass, you are going to. No, someone that is actually willing to hold you by the hand. Since you're a female, I would advise you going for a female and very proactive female engineer to guide you. You can find anybody from LinkedIn to SP meetings to I don't know, alumni or whatever. But just try as much as possible to find someone that can hold you. You've not done this before, so you need someone that can actually hold your hands and go through it, so that you cannot make the same mistake that they made. And so I don't know if you actually done your internship or you've not done your internship. But if you've done your internship, no problem. If you're in your internship or you've not done your internship, I think it's a very good time to find problem. Don't just do your internship like someone that, because I was privileged to intern with Total, and man, it was a good life from student hustle, from living in the hostel, and it was a good life. And if you are not careful, you will get lost in that facade of oil company worker and living like that. You will forget why you are there, and before you know, this has passed. So use your internship as an opportunity to find problem. Find problem, even if it's not for your project, because most times your project might be led by your supervisor and it's still boiled down to the curriculum wise. But find that this is the problem that this company is. Sometimes it can even transcend the company to be an industry problem, and start thinking with the right consultation virtually on LinkedIn or through AI tools. You can come up with solutions. And now everybody with access to LinkedIn at first, you can be your own will I say advertiser. You can be your own like marketer. You can be your own brand ambassador. So you don't have to wait for anybody to put you out there. You have to start by putting yourself out there. I think that would be the major talking point. But if there's any other thing that you feel that I need to stress on, you can just call my attention to it. But I hope this answers your question. Thank you.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But I just want to, put this as a chaser. I am studying electronics and computer engineering. And I would say that obviously that seems like I wouldn't be able to find a mentor like that in SP. So I would like to know if you have any examples, be they male or female, but as you said, maybe preferably female, that I can maybe follow up on, emulate, if from afar or close by, anyone at all that you can use as an example for me.
So actually, that's a very, very distant neighbor. You're a very, very distant neighbor, but it's fine. SP, welcome everybody. So it depends on the kind of career you want to build. Do you want to build a career in the oil and gas industry, or you want to build a career in like fundamental electronics, computer engineering, And so that will determine your choice of mentor. So if it's the oil and gas industry, then I know some engineers that are electrical engineers. I can just go over my contacts list, maybe on LinkedIn or WhatsApp, and see someone that can pair you with. When you're looking at general, like foundational electrical, because if I had, honestly, I'm not saying this, I love petroleum engineering, but I think that electrical engineering is like the hottest, the hottest course, the hottest engineering actually, because those guys, everything you are doing, as far as engineering is concerned, mechanical engineering, you are actually going to interact with systems, electronics. It's in one way or the other with the way the world is going. So they are like the future of engineering. Don't mind me, please. I'm sorry. if you celebrate too much, I'll withdraw my statement. Mercy. So yeah, but depending on what you want to go for, if it's traditional EEE, I can't really say. But maybe you can look up on LinkedIn, and if you're looking at oil and gas, maybe I can find someone for you. But the like say the most level playing ground is on LinkedIn. Just search, go to LinkedIn, search what are the designations in your field? What are the titles that, for example, also we have reservoir engineer, so I can search principal reservoir engineer or principal drilling engineer, and I will see someone, and so I can follow from there. Someone that's actually active, but I don't really know major electrical engineers that I can suggest to you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate your answer. Has been satisfactory, beyond satisfactory for that matter. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Favor.
Thank you so much for that question and that answer. I want to apologize because um my network went bad and I was actually kicked out of the call. So I want to apologize for that. So someone asked a question, Mr. Rahim asked a question in the chat box. Could you please expatiate on policy engagement more, sir? So I would like for you to answer that question, Mr. Shammah.
Okay, so yeah, policy engagement is like thinking future forward in terms of the kind of policies that are bad and getting involved to shape them, like lending your own voice. Now, I'll give you an example, although it did not fly as I wanted it to fly. In 2023, I presented my first research at SP students STSC, and it was on how we could integrate energy transition into petroleum engineering education in Nigeria. And part of my solutions was around policy restructuring, the fact that we cannot just be telling us energy transition, but I'm not seeing anything about that in class, only from SP Meet events. So what if I graduate and there's nothing for me? So I suggested a couple of strategies. And when I got to that level of presenting to the expert judges, they now told me that, look, the Nigeria University Commission is actually working on something like this. So don't worry, we have your concerns, and they have developed. And that was when the BMAS came up, and they made some adjustments, brought in some computer related. I can't really remember because I graduated by the time I was almost graduating. But what I'm trying to say is that policy engagement is more like looking out for the current existing energy policies and lending your voice to them. Now, when I mean energy existing policies, something like starting a discussion around why would Nigeria actually bring CNG and bring energy transition plan and bring electric vehicle. Like, why are they confusing us? Starting a discussion around that, maybe online or via any platform you have, is something that shows that you are knowledgeable, you're thinking for the future, and trying to see how we can ensure more stability in our policies. In the West, we were in part of Asia where this is more pronounced. They have youth forums, right? I mentioned IRENA Youth Forum. IRENA stands for International Renewable Energy Agency Forum. And they have this session where they bring together youths, young people that are actually doing something in the energy space, and they discuss like the future, just like COP 29 or COP 30, where they just gather together and they discuss the policies that are available and see the suggestions that they can make. But in Nigeria, it's a little bit limited. So the best example I can think of is to research papers or online forum discussions. But with time, Nigeria can evolve to the state where we can actually have panel session or forums where we bring youth to discuss policies around the energy space, clean water, clean food, sustainable agriculture, sustainable engineering, as the case may be. So yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so I mentioned a couple of
Thank you.
problems. Let me
Okay,
just take
sir.
this second question. Let me just take the second by Chimaroke. I need to run now, guys. So let me just take this question and I'll be done. Please, I'm really sorry. I have another meeting to join. So, yeah, one of the problems I mentioned was around leaks in the oil and gas industry. There's a problem of leakage. In fact, a very more relatable one is metering. Metering, like oil and gas meter. Metering is like it's like measuring the volume of oil produced. Nigeria is pushing local content, and so most of the things with technologies we use are owned by the white guys, SLB, Halliburton, Welltech. So we are pushing local content. So if as an aspiring engineer, you come up with an idea, you get to present it as maybe all these energy case. There are a lot of energy competition in Nigeria, hackathons that you can present your projects, so you can get recognition. So I mentioned the fact that we have this challenge of metering. There's a problem with that, being able to measure how much oil are you producing, how much water are you producing, and where is the what are coming from? Why are we producing too much water? Why am I supposed to produce oil? Is it a borehole? That's one. Secondly, problem of methane, like rapid response to problems on site, maintenance problems. For example, if there is a sabotage, what I mean sabotage, I mean if they burst pipe, how fast can we address that? Oil spillage, for instance, how do we remediate places like the Ogoni axis are very, very bad. Their pollution is really bad. So something around that. Then you can look more in depth technology. I don't know how technical you might want to go, so I don't want to bamboozle you with technical related concepts. But these are just general industry problems that you can go over. And I think a Google search or ChatGPT will do you very, very good help with getting more context on the problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. A round of applause once again for our speaker. He has done so well tonight, and we are really glad that we had you on this webinar tonight. Please, I need more energy. I need more energy. A round of applause for our speaker, please. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it for come taking your time to come to have this session with us. We really appreciate it. So next we're going to be going on to our announcement, which is going to be taken by our one and only team lead for Sustainability Week, which is Mercy Ubano.
All right. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, guys. Good evening, guys. If you can hear me, can I see our virtual reactions, please? All right, thank you so much. So once again, I want to say thank you to our speaker for today. So, sir, I really liked the energy you brought into this room. It felt like you came really, really prepared. Like Pamela said earlier, it felt like a wake-up call. Like, yes, I'm an engineer and I have to do this and I have to do that. And I really, really, really enjoyed your session. It was really, really nice for me, and I learned so many things. To be honest, I learned so many things. All right, so thank you so much for that session, sir. So quickly, we'll be going over the announcements. Right, so Sustainability Week 2025. I want to see your like virtual reactions, guys. Sustainability Week 2025. So this was the first event for the Sustainability Week, which was the Sustainability webinar, anchored by our amazing speaker, Mr. Shammah. Thank you once again for that session. All right, so really quickly, we're going to be taking our announcements, right? So for day 2 is the campus cleanup drive. So this was day 1, but for day 2 we'll be having the campus cleanup drive, right? And for day 3 we'll be having the health, safety and awareness day. Health, safety and awareness day. That would be happening in front of the health center under the tree. We just converge together. If you want to learn how to use fire extinguishers, if you want to know more about what to do in a panic attack situation, what to do when somebody is convulsing and all that, right? So you will really need to gather under the tree in the health center, right? So for day 4, we'll be having our sustainability outreach, where we'll be going to Oh, sorry, for day 4, we'll be having our call for articles. So this is calling all writers in the house. If you have this nudging to write something, we have sustainability themed topics, right? So if you're interested in joining the call for article, if you're interested in writing an article, you can always reach out on the group. And lastly, we'll be having our secondary school outreaches, right? So if you're also interested in that, you can also volunteer on the general group, right? So if you're not yet an SPE member, now is the perfect time to join in. On the general group, you can message Light, who is our assistant membership lead. So when you join SPE LASU, you'll be opportunity to different opportunities, internships, global accesses, like Mr. Shammah has earlier missed, or like Mr. Shammah has earlier said, right? So lastly, we'll be having a football competition between LASU, SPE LASU, and SP Unilag right here in LASU Ekpe. So if you want to be part of that, you can join us. That would be on December 11, right? So that would be all for the announcement. So over to you, Tofumi.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for the announcements, Mercy. Next, we're going to be having our vote of thanks, which is going to be taken by our VP2 in person of Mr. Gospel Arinze.
All right, to the amazing moderators of this session, so for me, Larry, the amazing
Mr. Arinze, we cannot hear you. Please, can you please check your mic or your network around you?
All right. I think his network is tripping off, and I think that's kind of to my advantage, right? Because I forgot to mention a couple of announcements. So before Mr. Gospel comes back, before our VP2 comes back to take his vote of thanks, I'll be making few more announcements. Also, be having the call for abstract submission. I'm sure you've been hearing nice. Our last ALP session, we had a speaker come to talk about research writing, right? So the site is still open for submission, right? And the submission deadline is January 9th, 2026. So you have more time to research, you have more time to put yourself out there, you have more time to be able to participate in this call for abstract. And I really want to have so many members of SPE LASU participate in NAIS, right? All right, so after you've probably submitted your application, the notification of acceptance will be sent January
sustainability
26,
lead in the
2026.
person of
All
Matthew
right,
Bano.
so aside that, we'll be having our monthly technical meeting, which will be starting on Friday, December 5th, 2025. So I know we really like the SPE energy. So if you want to see more of this SPE energy, please don't miss our monthly technical meeting. We'll be able to come together, talk more about opportunities, talk more about what we are doing here at SPE LASU, talk more about internship opportunities and things along the line. So those will be our announcements for today's session, right? So over to you, Gospel, for the vote of thanks.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes, we
can
can.
we can hear you
Sorry,
now.
please, where exactly did I leave? Where exactly was I cut off?
You You weren't able to start properly before
I
you
wasn't
got
able
cut
to
off.
start at all.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I think I gave my vote of thanks completely, and no one really received the thanks. All right, no problem, no problem. It's fine. Thank you very much, our wonderful host, the sustainability lead of this sustainability week, the person of Mercy Obano. Thank you very much for organizing this kind of seminar, this kind of webinar for us to listen, to learn, to upskill, to improve, to get better. To our wonderful hosts or moderators, Tofumi and Pamela, you've done a wonderful job. Thank you very much. And our speaker, you were engaging, you carried us along. I'm sure you prepared wonderfully well for this too. Mr. Shammah Ndubuisi, we appreciate you and we give big kudos to you for helping us so much to know more about futuring or engineering rather, engineering the future. To everyone that has come on this call, I'm sure you have 1,001 insights and pages to give to those that are around you, that you really learned a lot from this webinar. So I'll encourage you to pick this up and go out there and shine bright, because this light that you have, it cannot go low. Thank you very much, everyone. Before we go out, I'm sure we'll be doing a photo, but just in advance, I'm saying have a wonderful night, have a restful night, and please hold on for the photo session.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much for the vote of thanks, Mr. Gospel. And now we're going to be having our closing remarks once again by our sustainability lead, Mercy Obano.
All right, good evening, guys. I'm sure Gospel has already said everything that's needed to be said. But yes, I want you guys to know that Sustainability Week is still on. It's still on. And for tomorrow, we'll be having our campus cleanup for all of or for people like me that have mild OCD and we don't like how the campus is looking so probably disorganized and dirty. You can please come and join us tomorrow by 4 p.m. We'll be converging at the main field. So come tomorrow, we'll have gloves available, we'd have rakes, brooms, we'd have trash bags available. Just come in your white shirt. No, white is too light for something like that, so you can come in your green shirt, right, or your black shirt. Let's come together and make LASU green and make LASU clean. So I'll be really looking forward to seeing each and every one of us, or at least quite a number of us, for tomorrow's mini campus cleanup, right? So once again, thank you to each and every one of you that took out your time to come out for this sustainability webinar, and I really hope we all gained one or two things. Like Mr. Shammah said, it's one thing to talk, it's one thing to come out and say something, it's another thing to actually implement what we've actually learned. And I really hope that each and every one of us will go back to our various hostels or to our various places and put in the work in what we've learned today. So once again, I say thank you, and thank you to our speaker, even though it's in absentia right now. But thank you, Mr. Shammah. Thank you to each and every one of you, and thank you to our wonderful moderator. I really, really, really enjoyed this session. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Mercy. I really what a wonderful way to learn sustainability. I'm really excited everything else that the sustainability team have for us. Thank you, Mr. Sherman, for the clarity. And also thank you to everybody who took out their time to join us tonight. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate your I appreciate your focus. I appreciate everything that like the time that you took out to join us. Remember, the future is engineered by those who stay curious, stay involved, and stay committed. Good night, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, we can leave the call now, guys. That's we can leave the call. All right, bye. Good night.